and our first guests are Elspeth Cheung and Peter Walshe from Canton Millwall Brown. Elspeth, Peter, thanks very much indeed for joining us. I'm going to start with you, Elspeth. You're the person who's responsible for doing the brand valuations globally around the world for the various different BrandZ rankings. From a brand valuation perspective, let's take a look at both Amazon and Whole Foods.
Hi, David. So let's start with the track record first. So since we launched our first global ranking back in 2006, so over the last 12 years, Amazon has grown by more than 2,000%. And why so? It's been always a top rises. So it's been very focused on consumer-driven disruptions. And what disruptions are we talking about? I remember 1 year ago, I was still talking about one click away, we can get our orders at our doorstep in 2 hours' time. And this year, we don't even have to move our finger. We just have to say, Alexa, can we have some beach toys for my vacation next week? So this is actually the pace that Amazon has been innovating all these years, and it's reflected in their share price and also the brand value growth.
Now, brand value growth is one thing. Another way of looking at it is, I suppose, the position in the global BrandZ Top 100 Most Valuable Global Brands. This is quite a story.
That's right. So Amazon started at number 78. It dipped a little bit as it went, but now in 2017, it is the number 4 most valuable brand in our global ranking this year. And it's very interesting because with the acquisition of Whole Foods, I would think that it's going to add more value to consumers, making people's life better every day.
So if we had to push you and say, if they, in a sense, put some of those, if those two brands were put together in some way from a consumer perspective, where would their brand be?
I have to take my crystal ball out, David. I would think that without any surprise, as they keep on their momentum, Amazon should be like one of the top 3 brands in our ranking next year.
Okay. Look and watch this space. Peter, one of the great things about the BrandZ data set is we've got historic data on both of these brands going back quite some way. What does the BrandZ data set say about Amazon Whole Foods?
Well, indeed, it is a treasure trove. You know, we interviewed more than 3 million people over the last 10, 12 years. So there's some fascinating data about it. The first, I think, is the opportunity, a massive opportunity if you look at the data, which is the claimed usage across the globe where Amazon is available, which is most places, is about 2/3 of the people. Whereas for Whole Foods, it's a mere 9%. There's 3/4, more than 3/4, where Whole Foods are available who've never ever tried it. So you can see that the ability for the Amazon merger to be able to scale it up is massive.
Now, one of the things that the BrandZ data looks at is, I suppose, the relationship between brands, their value, how much they charge. Two very different brands on that scale. What do we see?
Positioning is really very, very different. Again, looking at some key metrics that we've got on BrandZ, the actual worth it score is very good for both brands. They're both worth it in their ways, but one is a really good value, relatively cheap brand from the consumer point of view, whereas the Whole Foods is a much more expensive brand because it's worth it. It justifies its premium. So what the implication of this is adding some kind of quality to the Amazon stable.
Now, one of the things that Whole Foods, I suppose, was predicated on, was founded on, was their social responsibility.
Yeah, and we see very different measures here. The social responsibility and corporate responsibility for Whole Foods has always been massively high, huge scores against the average brands. Whereas Amazon has been struggling for some time, but it's now just approaching round about the average for all brands.
Now, you have a summary metric looking at I suppose the makeup of brands across various different dimensions called vital signs. What are the vital signs of Amazon and what are the vital signs of Whole Foods, and do they match at all?
Well, indeed, these are the vital signs are of brand health, if you like. And what our data shows us, particularly Elspeth's valuation stuff, is that the brands that are most successful tend to start with a purpose. That is, the perception that they're making people's lives better. And if that then purpose is backed up by some innovation, some perceived innovation about why the brand is making your life better, and that in turn is communicated, the brand has a huge advantage. And then, of course, people are much more likely to try it. And if the experience lives up or goes beyond all of those claims, then the brand is sitting pretty, and what happens? It develops brand love, which then sustains it before its next innovation. And these measures, if you're high on all of them, you're a healthy brand, which indeed Amazon is, and if you're low on all of them, you're frail. I'm glad to say that Whole Foods is far from frail. It's not quite as strong as Amazon. In fact, where it's sort of falling down is a little bit in terms of communications, so people don't necessarily get exactly what it's about. Again, the low penetration. And also, it hasn't quite developed love yet. So again, you can see that with the backing and all of the aspects that Amazon will bring to the party, this could be of benefit to Whole Foods.
Now, Amazon has, I suppose, a summary in your vital signs of analysis of about 130 odd. Where does that place it in the hierarchy of all of the brands?
Oh, it's way up the top. I mean, in fact, I think our top brand is Pampers at the moment, but Amazon is close behind in terms of that healthiness of the brand, alongside pretty close to its ranking, number 3 or 4 from memory.
So, in summary then, Peter, when we look at from a brand perspective, Amazon, Whole Foods, what does that bring?
Well, I think this is a match made in heaven. There's something in it for both parties. And you can see that the massive opportunity that could be globalized and scaled more for the expansion of quality fresh goods at a more acceptable and affordable price for the benefit of consumers is what this merger could all be about. So both parties will gain for that. And in fact, what's interesting, when you look again at the BrandZ data, both brands are led by 2 key metrics: brand purpose and innovation. And those are the 2 aspects that lead most to future brand growth and sustainability.
Well, Peter and Elspeth, thank you very much indeed. Now, there's a lot more BrandZ data that's available to you that looks at various different aspects of both the Amazon brand and the Whole Food brands. And at the end of this broadcast, I'll be giving you a URL where you can download all of that data and the reports that we've specifically created for you.